Here is a quick video on how to replace the axle nut on a Ferrari 355. Essentially, the only time you really need to do this is when removing the axle for doing CV boot replacements or a wheel hub replacement. I just did the calipers, actually the full brakes on this car, and when doing so, the original nuts were rusted beyond belief. And I believe this is because the inner wheel protection on the rim was missing, so I've ordered replacement protection. So I couldn't stomach leaving the nuts all rusted like that, so I decided to replace them. So first step is there's a bent over section that you do to lock the nut, and you have to undo that on the current nuts to be able to get the nut off. So you just take something to pry in the keyway here, or a screwdriver, and the metal's soft, and you can tap with a hammer and bend that back out. Now, what you don't see here is the axle stub is not threaded to the very end. It's only threaded, well, I guess I'd say it's probably the thread starts 3/8 or so back, probably right around where this lip is. So you don't have to worry when you're taking this off if that depression is not completely out, because you're not going to hurt any threads. There's no threads in the shaft in that area. So you deform this back as much as you can and use an impact gun and spin the nut off. So when they're rusted like this one, it took a little to come off, but it's off. So now I'm going to install the new nuts. Basically, you need to lubricate them with Molykote 1000. Now, the 355 workshop manual doesn't do a great job of explaining this and listing that it has to be lubricated. It shows lubrication for the front nut, but not the rear. So one of the great tips that I received from Dave at Ferrari of Bedford, Ferrari Service of Bedford, he said for me to download the 360 workshop manual, which has got a lot of the same components, and the manual is much better. In fact, it is. And they clearly state that this is a torque that's a lubricated connection. So it's important that when fasteners are to be dry, you leave them dry. When they're to be lubricated, you lubricate them, or the torque settings won't be applicable. So basically, you lubricate the nut, screw it on. Now I've cleaned this up because it was pretty crappy. And get this, so the torque for this is 275 Newton meters, which is 202.8 foot-pounds, so essentially 203 foot-pounds. So this is the fun part, because you need a very large torque wrench, and you're leaning on this pretty good to get it to torque up. Now, I just did my emergency brake pads, and I locked the emergency brake up, and I actually put in a screwdriver into the rotor to help lock it up, but the emergency brakes themselves resisted the torque. So you torque it down to the 275 or 202 or 203 rather foot-pounds. Then after, you have to deform the nut into the keyway hole here, and that acts just as a lock nut feature. So after that, I just yellow paint my fasteners that I know I've torqued, just so that I know that it's been done and hasn't been forgotten. So hopefully that helps you guys, and have a great day.